Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course, and we're pleased to be joined by Steve Carnes. Before we go into it, Steve, kind of tell everybody what you do.
Well, I run First Pacific Funding, which is a national lender. It's a bank that does all commercial equipment around the country. We've got 14 locations throughout the Northeast, Midwest, and just really concentrate on financing commercial equipment for business owners. And really that in a nutshell.
So how did you kind of get into NASCAR a little bit?
Well, my father back in 77 said, he was a big race fan his whole life. And obviously, usually whatever your father does kind of translates into, usually what your son likes down the road after he sees it as, throughout his whole childhood. And racing was a big thing for him. Started taking me to races in 1977, which was Daytona was just an hour and a half away. So went there and fell in love with it as a kid. Just the speed, the sound, the smell, all of it. I was hooked at a really, really young age. And NASCAR back early on was very easily accessible. I mean, you could just pull your RV right up to the front of the speedway, get out, go in the infield, and just really just take it all in. And that's what I did from an early age.
Yeah. So I know that you've been a fan for a long time. Now you're kind of, First Pacific Funding's been involved with Jeremy Clements and all that, and the 51 team in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. What's that been like to partner with Jeremy, and how'd that partnership kind of come together?
Well, I didn't know Jeremy prior to 2019. I've always known about him, but to actually take the next step with him as far as sponsorship, I had sent out a tweet late 2019. I was just, I felt my heart tug to just help people where I could. So I had sent out a tweet saying, if there's, 5 people, I would like to put a smile on your face and give you tickets to a race next year, something like that. And then Jeremy had chimed in where he would give hot passes,
right,
along with my tickets that I was donating. And it honestly just started then, because we started talking, just a few direct messages here and there, and then it just kind of evolved into something more where I just said, let's talk numbers for a race weekend. In Kentucky was my home track, an hour and a half away.
Right.
And it was a doubleheader because of COVID.
Right.
So it was a perfect opportunity to get 2 races for the price of one, in a sense, just to kind of get a feel for the sport, see if we liked it, and just kind of take a dip into the pool to see if it was something we wanted to do long term. So we did the 2 races in Kentucky, and it was just an absolute success. It sucked because you couldn't have fans there, so you didn't get the whole perspective, the whole race day experience. You weren't able to bring in clientele like you normally can. That's the big thing about sponsorship, is bringing in your clientele and make it a race day experience for people that that are your customers. So it was basically the only thing we got out of the deal was, for the most part, was just a wrap and exposure. But I just wanted to get a feel for, the whole experience, and it was just a success. So we did the 2 races in July of 20, and then after that, just kind of started setting our sights on a larger role in 2021. I think we did like nine primary sponsorships and maybe like 3 associates. So last year we were pretty vested into it, and Jeremy, I mean, you couldn't ask for any more. Made the playoffs with a 4-employee operation. That's just unheard of. So that was just, and then, we did the Vegas race, which was the first race of the playoffs, brought in a bunch of friends, family, business clients, things of that nature. And it was just a complete success, aside from the fact that he got taken out, so early in the race, but that's racing. But yeah, we're in this for the long run. I just, I wish my dad was still around. He passed a couple of years ago, to where he could see where, this 7-year-old boy has like got into the sport, a little bit more than just a race fan at this point.
And I know you've also helped out Jeremy get other companies on board on the 51 car as well, because, we talked back in December, Jeremy and I talked back in December, and that 51 team, they have, correct me if I'm wrong, they have sponsorship sold on all the races for the Xfinity.
Yeah, we did. And that's another thing, like I like to be busy all the time. So aside from running the company, I wanted to, kind of help him out and use the connections I have to find companies that may not be willing to put a primary big dollar sponsorship on the car, but just to get invested in the car like I did at a small, start out small, see what this experience is like. And then, maybe 22, 3, 4 down the road, they'll get into a little heavier role. But I did want, many companies to be part of this experience that work with us on a daily basis, just to say, hey, come on out to Phoenix or come out to Charlotte or Vegas or wherever you're at, and just, watch this race and see your company on this car going around and having national exposure. So I believe this year we've got 9 new companies on board the car that weren't there last year.
Right.
So it's just been a lot of fun. It's something that I have a passion for. I enjoy not just, putting our wrap on the car and I want to have other companies involved that have never experienced this.
Yeah, it's worked out, and it's worked out really well. When I talked to Jeremy back in December, he was excited. Of course, you're on the sponsorship side, and now that car's fully funded for the 2022 season, and a really, really good competitive car, and stepped up their program with that 51 team. But talk about, I know you also do some giveaways as well. I know you interact with a lot of the fans. Of course, you come from a military background as well. Talk about that side of things and interacting with fans and all that.
It's a passion. I love doing that. I love meeting new people. I just like to meet new people at the track, and having a little bit of access to, just getting people to the track to experience it that may never have been able to go before, whether it's a military member that's just joined the military recently, or a veteran or a first responder. And I just like to sometimes do things out of the box, like a single mother that maybe has never been able to experience a race. Just some one-off type things that nobody would really think of. I enjoy that. And so I just try to use the platform that I've slowly gotten into to, maybe just help somebody get to a race that maybe has never been to one, and meet Jeremy and just kind of see things, not just sitting in your living room, but actually being able to get to a race and just have it all around you.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, you're also known for, I know that I know you've made your opinion strong on what the schedule should look like, and, the return to the fairgrounds and all that stuff. Where do you think that, and it looks like NASCAR is kind of teetering on doing some of those things.
Yeah, I think they've just, for a long time, it's just been a cookie cutter scenario, just change the year, same tracks. But now, I think that they're starting to hear the fans, and, a lot of the 1.5 miles are gone. I hate that Kentucky's gone, but there's nothing you can do. They've got their minds made up on that stuff. But yeah, I think, they're hearing more short tracks. They're hearing, just they're tired of the same old, just same tracks, same dates, just change the years. You've got to keep people interested. And I think they're starting to hear that. I wasn't a big fan of the LA Coliseum, but I get it. There's gonna be a lot of people's eyes glued to the TV for that race, and that's exactly what they want.
Yeah, it's a big area, week before the Super Bowl. Definitely going to be interesting to see how that goes. Racing inside of a stadium, but I know you were more like, now that Nashville Fairgrounds is possibly being talked in, with all the stuff with the Fair Board, and then now you look at North Wilkesboro possibly coming back. There's even talks of Rockingham, possibly making its return as well, with how much money the state of North Carolina has put in, and also the city of Nashville with the fairgrounds. That's got to be momentum for a lot of fans, because while you're trying to also get new fans, you're also trying to please the fans that have always and will always be there.
Yep. Yeah, it's a tough balance because you can't just live off of the old time NASCAR fans. You've got to continuously grow the sport. So sometimes they're put in a tough situation, but I think the way that things are being done now, it's on the right path. And they've got
And Kennedy.
Ben Kennedy, who's kind of I feel like he's doing a good job in trying to balance the two. So yeah, I think this year is going to be a lot of fun. They said last year was going to be the greatest season. I really think, it's just going to continuously evolve and get better. Certainly, it's a good sign seeing that Daytona is sold out. I mean, hopefully that's the sign for everything to come this year.
Right. And of course, let's talk about the Xfinity Series, because a lot of people are also saying that out of the three, that is the best series. Because here's the thing: we're looking at, as I told everybody, we're looking at 50 cars going to possibly going to Daytona. And
that brings back old
teams and all that. It's going to be exciting to see that. And is this going to be probably one of the most competitive years that you've seen in your time watching the Xfinity Series?
Oh yeah, it's having that 50 cars show up for Daytona. That is such an old school vibe where I remember back long time ago. I mean, you would have like a last chance race for Cup cars.
Right.
To get into the race. I mean, it was really cool. And so, it's nice to see that there's actually qualifying is going to mean something where you're not going to have the first 36, you're going to be fighting like the Twins race on Thursday. You're only fighting for 2 spots. Like this is legitimately 10 cars could be going home.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a really cool deal. Plus I like, the 5 lug nut, like where I'm just hanging on to tradition wherever I can, and having the 5 lug nuts and just having the numbers like where they should be and things like that. It's like, we're just trying to hold on to a little bit of something from the past. And the Xfinity Series has always been my favorite, the best racing this past year, in my opinion. And then probably the trucks was even second. So it's a lot of fun, that series in general.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people that say that their favorite series will always be the Truck Series. But personally, I've turned into, the Xfinity Series, big fan of it. And yes, the Cup Series is the Cup Series, but the Xfinity Series has turned in, especially in the last few years. They're just bang for your buck.
And then, your mid-range drivers, like your Jeremys and your Brandon Browns and your Ryan Siegs, like, these guys have probably, a third of the, some, like I know Jeremy does this year, and a couple others, they're not going to have the big budgets of your colleagues, your Junior Motorsports, Penske's. So, but they do have it. They're up there. They're fighting them, so I feel like there's more opportunity in the Xfinity Series than any others.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's going to be an exciting year all around, because it's a lot of things are changing, especially now with the Cup package with the 670 horsepower. A lot of things going in the right direction, especially now also the Xfinity Series, the Truck Series, hey, even the ARCA Series. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. I just saw that ARCA is going to Saturday, which I just kind of bypassed, didn't see. So that's Saturday at Daytona is going to be a pretty cool day too.
And they did that. Yeah, they did that last year, and it's really kind of been there, because usually the ARCA race would be a week before. So now they've kind of condensed everything and moved it in there. So yeah, it's definitely going to be something to see there. But anyway, Steve Carnes, thank you so much for coming on and kind of explaining what your kind of role is with the 51 team, and
absolutely, Casey,
as well as getting into NASCAR. So Steve, thanks so much, and we'll have you on again sometime.
Thanks, Casey. I appreciate it. It's been fun.